What I'm about to tell you goes against everything you've been taught about money. Millennials in the United States are earning more than previous generations at the same age, and yet they're more broke. And no, it's not because they spend too much. It's not because they're bad with money. It's because they're playing a financial game that changed, without even realizing it. Now let me ask you something. Do you see yourself in this? You work. You make more money than you used to. But at the end of the month, it feels like nothing stays. Then pay attention, because in this video, you'll understand exactly why this is happening, and more importantly, how to break the cycle that keeps so many millennials stuck financially, even as their income grows. Because there's a small detail, an invisible one, that changes everything about how your money behaves. And most people never see it. It took me years to figure this out. I'm a millennial, and for a long time I thought the problem was me. I was making more, but building nothing. I got close to losing my house because I had no idea where my money was actually going. And it was only when I understood this pattern, this invisible system, that everything started to change. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you now. And before we get into why this keeps happening to so many people, just a quick thing. If you're trying to understand how money actually works in the real world, and not the version most people talk about, consider subscribing, because every week I break down the psychology behind money and the systems that actually help you build wealth. And leave a like on this video, because it helps this reach more people who feel stuck financially but don't know why. Now, let's get into the real problem. Now, let's understand the problem that almost everyone is dealing with, but very few people actually see. Here's the strange part. Millennials today are earning more money than previous generations did at the same age. On paper, this should be working. Higher income should mean more savings, more stability, more progress. But that's not what's happening. Instead, more and more people are living paycheck to paycheck. And you probably feel this yourself. You get paid, you cover your bills, and somehow, there's almost nothing left. It doesn't make sense. Because you're not starting from zero anymore. You've been working for years. Your income has increased. You're doing what you were supposed to do. And still, it feels like you're not moving forward. I know this because I've been there. You look at your life and think, I make decent money, so why does it still feel like I'm behind? And the frustration builds quietly. Not because you're doing something obviously wrong, but because nothing you're doing seems to actually change the outcome. And this isn't just you. Right now in the US, millions of millennials are in the exact same position, earning more than ever, but holding significantly less wealth than the generation before them, spending a bigger percentage of their income just to maintain a basic lifestyle, feeling like the money comes in and disappears just as fast. And after a while, it starts to feel like there's no way out. Like no matter how much you earn, it's never enough to actually get ahead. Which leads to a very uncomfortable question. If so many people are doing everything right, then why does it feel like the system isn't working anymore? And the worst part is, what most people do to try to fix this actually makes it even worse. And this is where things start to go wrong. Because when people feel stuck financially, they usually look for a simple explanation. And the most common one is this: I'm spending too much. You hear it everywhere, that millennials are broke because of lifestyle, because of coffee, because of subscriptions, because of small daily expenses. And over time, you start to believe it. So what do? You try to fix it. You cut the small things. You cancel a few subscriptions. You skip the coffee. You try to be more disciplined. I did the exact same thing. For a long time, I thought the problem was my habits, that if I just controlled my spending better, everything would fall into place, but it never really worked. Because even after cutting things out, the pressure was still there. The bills didn't disappear. The money still felt tight, and progress still felt slow, or non-existent. And that's when frustration really kicks in. Because now it feels like you're doing everything right, and it's still not enough. So you start blaming yourself. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe I just don't know how to manage money. But the truth is, that idea that the problem is just spending is incomplete. And in some cases, it actually makes things worse, because it keeps your focus on small fixes, while ignoring something much bigger happening in the background. And once you start looking at the numbers more closely, you begin to notice something that almost nobody talks about. Because when you actually look at the numbers, you realize this was never just about discipline. Millennials didn't just make different choices. They entered a completely different system. Think about the timing. A lot of millennials started their adult lives right around the 2008 financial crisis. And that matters more than people think. Because those early years, when you're supposed to build stability, grow your income, start saving, were replaced with uncertainty, fewer opportunities, lower starting salaries, slower growth. It's like trying to build momentum on unstable ground. Then comes the second layer, education. For previous generations, college was a stepping stone. For millennials, it became a weight. Right now, student debt in the U.S. is over $1.8 trillion, which means many people didn't start their financial life at zero. They started in the negative, before saving, before investing, before building anything. And while you're trying to recover from that, another pressure hits. Housing. The cost of having a place to live has grown much faster than income. What used to take about a quarter of someone's salary now can take close to half. Same life, completely different price. And here's where it all connects. Yes, millennials are earning more on paper, but in reality, their money is being pulled in more directions, faster than ever before. Debt takes a portion. Housing takes a larger portion. Daily costs keep rising. So even if you're doing everything right, the system itself is working against your progress. That's why cutting small expenses doesn't fix the problem. Because the pressure isn't coming from the small things. It's coming from the structure around you. And when I finally understood this, I remember thinking, no wonder this feels so hard. Not because I was failing, but because I was trying to win in a system that had already changed. And once you see that, everything shifts. Because now the question isn't just, how do I spend less? It becomes, what is actually keeping so many people stuck in this cycle? The answer is this. It's not just the system. It's how you adapt to it without realizing. There's a pattern that quietly keeps people stuck, even when their income keeps going up. It's called lifestyle creep. And once you see it, you start noticing it everywhere. Here's how it works. Every time your income increases, your life upgrades with it. You get a raise, so you move to a better apartment. You start earning more, so you upgrade your car. Your income grows, and suddenly your normal life becomes more expensive. Not because you're being irresponsible, but because it feels like progress. And that's the trap. Because on the surface, your life is improving. But underneath, your fixed costs are rising at the exact same speed as your income. So even though you're making more money, you're not actually getting ahead. You're just maintaining a more expensive version of the same situation. This is the part that changed everything for me. For a long time, I thought earning more would solve the problem. But every time my income went up, my expenses followed. And I ended up in the exact same place. Different numbers, same pressure. That's when it clicked. There's a difference between making more money and actually building wealth. Wealth is not about how much you earn. It's about the gap between what you make and what you keep. And lifestyle creep quietly destroys that gap. It expands your lifestyle until there's nothing left to build with. So the real problem isn't just how much you earn. It's that every increase in income gets absorbed before it has the chance to change your life. And once you understand this, everything shifts. Because now the real question isn't just how to earn more. It's how to stop your income from being consumed every time it grows. And now that you see what's actually happening, I'm going to show you exactly what to do next. So how do you actually break this cycle? It starts with something simple, but very intentional. You need to create distance between your income increasing and your lifestyle increasing. Because if those two things move together, nothing changes. Here's how you do that in practice. First, every time your income goes up, a portion of that increase needs to be locked away immediately, before you touch it, before you adjust your life. A simple rule that works. At least 50% of every raise should go straight into saving or investing. Automatically, not manually, because if you rely on willpower, you'll lose. This is something I learned the hard way. The first time I tried this, it felt like nothing was happening, like I was holding myself back. But over time, that gap starts to grow, and that gap is where wealth is built. Second, you need to automate this process. Set it so that money leaves your account the moment it comes in, into investments, into savings, into something you don't casually spend. Because what you don't see, you don't spend. And this one sounds basic, but it changes everything. Third, you need to define a limit for your lifestyle. Not based on what you can afford, but based on what allows you to keep building. Because if your lifestyle keeps expanding without a limit, it will always consume your progress. So instead of asking, "Can I afford this now?" you start asking, "Will this reduce my ability to build wealth?" That shift alone filters a lot of bad decisions. And finally, start treating income growth as a tool to build assets, not just upgrade life. Because more money doesn't make you wealthier, assets do. And if every increase in income turns into higher expenses, you stay in the same place, just at a higher level. But if part of that increase consistently goes into building something, that's when things start to change. That's when your money starts working for you, instead of just passing through your hands. And look, even when you start doing this, at first it might feel slow, like it's not making a big difference. That's normal, because this is the opposite of how most people operate. But over time, it compounds. And that's when the gap becomes real. That's when progress becomes visible. But even if you apply all of this, there's one thing you need to understand before you expect results. Let me be honest with you. This is not something you're going to feel next month. In the beginning, it's almost invisible. You start saving more. You automate things. You hold back on upgrading your lifestyle, and it feels like nothing is changing. Your life looks the same. Your bank account doesn't explode overnight, and part of you starts thinking, "Is this even working?" I've been there. In the first few months, I almost stopped, because the progress didn't feel like progress. And that's where most people quit. Not because it doesn't work, but because the feedback is too slow. We're used to immediate results. You spend money, you feel it instantly. You buy something, you get the reward instantly. But building wealth doesn't work like that. At first, it's quiet. You're creating something, but you can't see it yet. And this is the difference most people don't understand. There's a difference between no progress and invisible progress. In most cases, it's happening, just slowly. In real terms, for most people, it takes about 3 to 6 months to start feeling more control, around 1 to 2 years to see meaningful financial stability, and 3 to 5 years to notice real wealth building. Not overnight, but consistent. And once it starts compounding, that's when things get interesting. Because now the system you built starts working without you thinking about it all the time. That's when money stops feeling chaotic and starts feeling predictable. So no, it's not fast, it's not perfect, and it's definitely not linear. But it works. And when it clicks, it changes how you see money completely. Now, knowing how this cycle actually works, and what to realistically expect in the beginning, there's just one thing left. So here's how you start today. Not next month, not when things feel more organized. Today, step 1. Take a few minutes and look at your numbers. How much of your income is actually being consumed by your current lifestyle? Not just bills, but everything. Rent, subscriptions, food, small expenses, because you can't fix what you don't see. Most people skip this, and that's why nothing changes. Step 2. Create a simple rule for your future income before it even happens. Something like, every time I earn more, at least 50% of that increase goes to building wealth. You decide the percentage, but the rule needs to exist before the money comes in, because in the moment, you'll always justify spending it. Step 3. Automate one thing, just one. It could be a weekly transfer, a monthly investment, a simple savings system. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to happen, without you thinking about it. That's how you break the cycle. Step 4. Pause your upgrades. Not forever, just temporarily. The next time your income increases, don't immediately improve your lifestyle. Give it time. Let your system grow first. This one is uncomfortable, but it makes all the difference. And that's it. You don't need a complex strategy. You need a simple system that you repeat. Because financial freedom doesn't come from one big decision. It comes from small decisions, made consistently over time. And yeah, the first days feel strange. It won't be perfect. You might miss a step. That's normal. What matters is that you start. Because when you understand how this cycle works, you finally stop running on the financial treadmill and start moving forward. And if this video made you see your situation differently, that's already a big step. Because most people never realize they're stuck in this cycle. They just keep running faster inside it. Now you know what's actually happening. You know what's been holding you back. And more importantly, you know what to do next. So the only thing that matters now is this. Start. Even if it's small. Even if it's not perfect. Because the longer you wait, the longer the cycle keeps running in the background. And if you want a simple system that helps you organize your money, start investing, and actually build wealth step by step, I put everything together in a guide. You'll find it in the description. And if you want more videos like this, breaking down how money really works and how to stop feeling stuck financially, subscribe to the channel. Because here's the truth most people don't realize. The problem isn't the money. It's the system you're playing. And once you learn how to play it right, everything changes.